Hey y'all, it's Raina Rochelle, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Her. We have a great episode today. I'm actually really into this. This is something that I've really been noticing about myself. A little side note, my birthday was yesterday, and this ties really good into this week's episode because it's about no longer needing to be understood anymore. Like, legit, the title of this episode is I Don't Need to Be Understood Anymore. And there's something about getting older where it just clicks. Like, you just don't need it. You just don't care. You understand that those people that are supposed to be around you are those who are around you, and those who are not are just not. And so you're not defensive. Don't be defensive about not being understood, right? We're at a place where we're more grounded, we're more settled, and you're not explaining anymore. You're just more settled, you're more grounded. You no longer feel like you need to perform. You understand the fact that performing is more hurtful than good in most instances. There's no need to perform. There's no big bad wolf. You're grown, you're human, and this is who you are. And you need to start walking in this life like so. So you're less focused on people understanding you and more focused as coming forth as your authentic self so you can find your authentic tribe, your authentic people, the authentic people that truly care about you. So, this episode is about emotional maturity. It's about self trust. It's about detachment from validation. It's about choosing peace over performance. Um, it's calm authority and not reaction. So let's get into the video. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I've realized something recently, which I was telling y'all. My birthday just passed, and I noticed that I just didn't care about people opinion as much. Like, I was posting what I wanted, how I wanted to post on my birthday. I was not worried about making sure I had a birthday post or making sure that I looked a certain way on my stories or making sure that I only had a certain personality on my story. Or even when I went out, I'm not making sure I look away or laugh a certain way to like get a certain guy's attention. I have now understood that the people who want me, the people that want to be friends with me, the people that want to be around me, they are going to love my little quirky, goofy personality. They're going to love who I am. And all I have to do is show up, have fun, and be my authentic self. And those who are attracted to me will come to me, even with my weirdo self. So I had to learn that though, because younger Ray was not like that. Younger Ray was so in need of validation. She just needed to be what people wanted. Versus now, I really sit and I'm like, do I want those people with me? Are they boring? Because let's be honest, when you're being performative, you are very boring. You have no personality. I want you to think about that too before you keep on trying to put on a performance. How much people think you're a bore. Why would I say that? Of course I would say that, but I'm sorry. We're gonna move on. And I got a whole mic. Okay, so before I stopped caring, I used to over explain so much. You feel like the need to explain everything that you're doing because you just don't want anybody to misunderstand you. And the thing you need to understand is if somebody doesn't want to understand you, if they want to see you in a negative light, they're going to see you in a negative light no matter what you do or the best foot forward that you put, they're going to see it. All you have to make sure is that you have great intentions and that you're not losing anything from giving out this energy. It's not some energy that's exhausting you. As long as you give enough of a good energy that doesn't exhaust you, that is authentically you, you let people figure it out from there. You don't have to over explain. You don't have to justify nothing. You know who you are. And eventually they will find out who you are if they stay long enough, if God wants them in your life. But if they do not stay, if they don't stick around, and then you're here exuding yourself for every person to make sure that you prove something or just over explain yourself, you are never going to truly be able to live your life. And you're just going to see your years pass by and think, man, I didn't truly get to be who I wanted to. I didn't truly have fun in those moments. I didn't really truly live those moments because I was so worried about being what other people wanted me in those moments, or about looking a certain way in those moments, or making sure people saw me in a certain way in those moments, that you never really actually lived those moments. So I used to also soften myself a lot. I used to always feel like I didn't want to be misunderstood. And sometimes, how do I say this? I'm not big headed, right? And surprisingly, I don't see myself the way a lot of other people see me. But I have learned the fact that a lot of people see me and they think I'm not I'm decent looking, which I appreciate. I appreciate the compliments. But I always felt like I had to soften myself because there's this stigma that I found out as I was living that comes with certain people that look a certain way, where they think that you're automatically stank, or you're automatically think like you're don't stink, or you act, they just automatically think that you're going to just be this walking arrogant being. And that's never been me. I've always been a goofy girl. I don't take myself seriously. So then what I ended up starting to do is I started softening myself. It wasn't even softening myself. I started giving people momentum. I started talking down on myself and saying bad stuff about myself so it could kind of put their guards down, so that they would be more open to not seeing me in that light. And I don't know, I just felt like I had to soften myself. And the way I was softening myself was by giving them fuel. And that didn't help because it didn't make them, yes, it made them more comfortable being around me, but not only did it make them more comfortable being around me, it made them more comfortable hurting me. It gave them what they were already looking for, ways to hurt me, ways to put me down, ways to elevate themselves out of the insecurity that they felt for themselves. So that's all it was doing for me. It wasn't doing nothing for me. It was doing everything for them. So I used to stop in myself. I used to over clarify things. And then you get to a point in life, thank the Lord Jesus for age. I hope that y'all don't have to go through what I went through. I hope y'all don't have to get there with age. I hope that y'all can get there with just wisdom and knowledge, where you just wake up one day and you're just like, I do not care. I don't care. If they care, great for them. They can waste their energy and their time on that. But me, myself, I'm gonna have a good time. Like, you need to get there because you only have one life, and worrying about what everybody else thinks, how they perceive you, what their opinions are, it just slows down the momentum. It lowers down the fun. Okay. So yeah. So me wanting to feel understood felt like safety. I felt like if I explained who I was, if I gave them an opportunity to not feel what's the word? Them not having to feel intimidated around me would make me safe. And it didn't make me safe. I just said that. It just gave them more fuel to hurt me with. But I also felt like a lot of times being misunderstood was also what made me not safe. Because if they knew my heart, I always felt like if they knew my heart, they would know who I am and they wouldn't want to hurt me because they would see that I'm such a great person. No, that's not why they want to hurt you. They want to hurt you because there was some people they wanted to hurt me because they want to bring me. I can't do nothing about that for you. Talk to the big man. Um, so me wanting to be understood, I just always felt like if I explained them, if I explain this, if I talk to them about this, maybe they understood this wrong. If I just explain it to them, then they would get the right picture and then they would magically, everything would magically be okay. But the thing is, sometimes it's not that they misunderstood it from the beginning. It's they didn't want to understand it. They didn't want you to see you in a good light. Sometimes you gotta see that. Some people, they don't want to see you in a good light. They purposely want to paint a bad picture of you. So you overextending your breath and your fuel and your energy to try to make them understand who you truly are isn't helping, because they never wanted to see you in a good light to begin with. So why so let's talk about why we want to be understood as humans. So first thing is, being understood equals validation. We feel like it validates who we are to people, to everyone, to ourselves. We feel like if everybody understands us, automatically we'll be validated. Um, Sometimes being misunderstood could feel like rejection. That's another reason why people want to be understood, so that they don't feel rejected. And if you get into the last two episodes that we just went through, it was pruned, not pruning. We really did take a step and stop that rejection, and really talked about how we need to run towards the thing that we're scared of, that feels like a rejection, because that is an unhealed part of us that really needs to be worked on. So that's one reason why people want to be understood. Another reason why people want to be understood is because you want reassurance that you're doing the right thing. That one's really tough, y'all. You want reassurance that you're doing the right thing, right? But it's very important for you to already have your values, especially in the world that we live in. Sometimes the right thing will still be painted as the wrong thing. Um, every single day, the right things, or the things that we thought were right, are being swayed, and then now they're wrong. So you really need to stand in your values. Make sure that you have a great heart, not hurting anyone, and stand on what you believe in. Because every day it's like everything is swaying. Everybody is just a whole bunch of ducks in a row. They're just a whole bunch of followers. You really need to be able to stand on your own stuff, but also make sure you're not purposely trying to be malicious and hurt anybody in the process. Um so also, we need to talk about how being the need to be understood, how it ends up making you look in the workplace and relationships, and even on social media, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, boo, it's not a good look. Because you needing to be validated, you needing to be understood all the time, shows that you are insecure. That's what it rings up as. It rings up as insecurity, right? So at work, they're not going to feel like, okay, this person's going to stand on their stuff. So they're probably not going to feel like you deserve to be in places of power, leadership. They're not going to take your word seriously, because they don't feel like you take your word seriously. So they're probably like, why would I take her word seriously? She don't even take herself seriously, you know? So it shows up in those instances. So you feeling like you have this need to over explain actually makes you look like incompetent. It makes you look incompetent in the workplace. Now, in relationships, you just look insecure. It also makes people know your cards. I'm not saying I've always said I never want to be in relationships that require me to feel like I'm playing like some card game where I need to like be worried about how I move and what I do and what they're collecting from this and da da da. And that's so true. You don't want to be with anybody that has any type of vendetta, or are hiding things or keeping things to use later. You don't want that. But in the real world, especially in the beginning phase, you don't know who you are stepping into relationships with. And even in the rocky moments where you do know who you're in a relationship with, but maybe you guys are going through a rough patch and now you don't know what the other side of this relationship will look in the next month or two. So you don't know what this person may be doing with the information that they may be collecting about you. I'm just saying. So, you having to over explain everything, over clarify everything, overdo everything makes you look insecure at times. And for somebody that is some narcissists feed on people like that. They know exactly what you're thinking because they know you're going to explain it anyways. And they know how to trick you, how to lie to you, how to make you think what they want you to think because they literally know what you're thinking at all times. So they know how to manipulate you. So sometimes you just need to stand on your word, not be worried about being misunderstood, not be worried about explaining everything, not be worried about over clarifying everything. You know what you mean. You know who you are. You stand on that. You be that confident person so nobody can come around and try to manipulate you. So on social media, oh baby, people people find entertainment with people that over explain things, but it's hard for them to ever take people serious that over explain things. So only two things can happen if you are a person that's worried about being misunderstood. Either you can be somebody who people get tired of, they just smell the insecurity on you. And then they just feel like, you know what? I'm purposely not going to like her stuff. I'm purposely not going to care about what she has to post because I know she cares about being misunderstood. Or you will get the likes, you will get the validation that you're looking for, but it will only be for them to laugh at you. They find it entertaining. They find it as something funny to look at. And they act like they care because they know that you're going to over explain and need validation and everything like that, but they don't really care. They're just getting a little kiki out of it. You have to be able to be certain within yourself so that you don't care about what other people think or form opinions of you. You need to be able to have that for yourself, stand within it, and move on. Because, especially social media, it could be with you one day and not with you the next day. Sometimes it's a number game, a timing game. So if you're looking for validation there and you just happen to post the wrong time, baby, there's your validation. If you thought you were cute, you don't feel cute no more. And that's very sad because you shouldn't have to be worried about that. You should know that for yourself. Also remember when you stop explaining stuff, it's not because you're hiding, it's because you're solid. You know who you are. You don't need to explain anything to nobody. You're solid within yourself. You move on. Um Also, like we said before, sometimes having clarity, over explaining things, over clarifying things doesn't automatically mean you're going to get acceptance. It doesn't mean automatically this person's going to like you. Automatically they're going to understand and everything's going to be peachy cream and all lollipops and rainbows. Like I said, some people knew it from the beginning. They understood and they were clear from the beginning. They chose to not understand you. Or sometimes maybe they didn't understand, but they just don't like you. And that is okay. They don't want to like you, and that is okay. Move on, okay? Life is more than being understood. Most people like people that just don't care. People who care don't get liked as much. Tell me I'm lying. Okay. Look at Kanye. Do you know how many people love Kanye? He ran for president. Kanye don't like any of us. I don't know why them people like Kanye. To this day, I don't know why people like Kanye. but they respect the fact that he doesn't care what nobody else thinks. It's kind of valid. You have to understand that people are only going to like the parts of you that validates them. So if they have work that they're still working on, if they have wounds and insecurities or whatever, they're only going to believe what validates them. So it's nothing to do with you, and you putting in this extra work does nothing for you. People are only going to believe what they want to believe. You don't need to be palatable, at least not for anybody else. The only person that you need to be worried about satisfying is yourself. Don't try to be palatable for anybody else, baby. So I didn't become quieter, I became more certain. And that is so true with me nowadays. I'm so quiet. And I was getting so nervous because I was like, I'm not talking as much lately. I was really starting to get scared. And then I started talking to my therapist. I was like, I don't talk, but I'm not sad. I'm not hurt. I just feel like I don't need as much words. I don't need to explain the thing. I don't need to say much. And she was like, actually, that's growth. You're growing. And I was like, really? So you have to be okay with letting people assume and understanding that if they assume and they care enough, they'll come find the answer. If they cared that much for the reality, the real answer, they would come to you, baby. And if they don't care enough, just let their mind wander. If it's not your boss, if it's not somebody that can actually do something for you, if it's not somebody that puts bread in your pocket, if it's not somebody you actually are building a life with, their opinions don't matter. And if they care enough, they will come and get the answer themselves. So until this grown individual comes up to you and comes and asks the answer, if they really want an answer to validate whatever they're doing, until they come up to you, you don't need to explain or clear up anything. Because if they cared, they would ask. Ask. Sorry, y'all. I'm one of those people that say ask. You have to be able to choose silence without resentment. Understand that you choosing silent doesn't mean that you have to be mad or hurt or feel any time of pain. It's not punishment to be silent. Sometimes it really is peaceful, and it should be peaceful. Now, if you get to the point where silence is eating you up that bad, baby, open that mouth. Like, it's not that serious. If it's eating you up like that, say what you need to say. But silence should be peaceful. And the more you practice being silent a lot more, the more at peace you will feel. Alrighty. I think I'm going to go ahead and end that there. I am so excited to put out this episode for you guys. This is so much more fun. I have a lot more to talk about within this scope. Like I said, this is something that I've recently tapped into a lot more into my life these past few months. So if you guys want another episode on this, please go ahead and comment down below. I have no problem to come back into this subject and talk a little bit more about that. But until then, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.